Hola everyone and welcome to Play It Like Dimebag. So here we are, lesson part 2 for the solo of FLOODS, and yeah, let's just get into it. It's the 11th on the G and 12th on the B. Bend up on the G 11th, and it's a whole note bend up, and then you release it and immediately you bend back up around the half a note. It's a little further than that. Keep bending that up until the lick starts. And there's a lot of ghost notes starting up and then down. So together. And then with an upstroke you start pick the 12th on the B string and then downstroke on the 11th on the G string, but it starts with a pre-bend, so it's not from here, but from approximately half a note bend up. And it's 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we pick the 9th with an upstroke, and then hammer on to the 12th with the ring finger now. Pull off back to the 9th, and then pick with a downstroke the 12th again, and bend it up a whole note. And from there, there's an upstroke on the E9th, and then hammer on to the 12th back, pull off to the 9th, and again start the next bar with picking the 12th with a downstroke and a bend up. And also vibrate that last part. And then we go up to the 9th fret with the downstroke on the E string, then 11th, then 12th. It's all alternate picking, ending it on the 11th fret with the downstroke and bend that up a half a note and let it ring. And what makes this part a little bit more special is that in between the notes you mute by putting the pick onto the string like this. And that gives that extra little dirt that you're aiming for there. So it starts with the downstroke on the 9th, upstroke on the 11th, then pull off back to the 9th, and then downstroke on the B12th, upstroke on the E12th, back to the B12th with the downstroke, and also bend that up a whole note. So it's so far, and then upstroke on the 9th, downstroke back on the B12th, pull off to the 9th, downstroke on the G12th, and then upstroke on the B12th, and finish this bar up on the G12th again, and also bend that up a half a note. Because we're gonna go to the 9th on the B string. So far. Next bar starts on the 9th fret on the B string with an upstroke, then down on the G12th, then from here pull off to the 11th and then to the 9th. So this coming part is pretty intense in a way. So you pick it with a downstroke, the 11th, and then up again, the same note, but it's not just these two flat notes there. You also bend them up a little bit. I bend it upwards, so it's, and then pull it back, and then pull off to the 9th. So it's a very subtle, very small bending, but it's there. The 11th, back to the G11th, and then go back to the D11th again, and then G9th, down, up, and bend this 9 up a whole note, and then 11th on the D fret, pull off the 9th. From here is that repetitive lick, but this time, the first time around, we don't go back from the 9th to the 11th, but instead there's a little muting there, so it's, which you can hear if you take a listen to the isolated track. It's a very small detail, but it is like that. Keep going with this repetitive, like picking the 11th with an upstroke on the G string, and then down on the D 11th, and then again 9th fret, bend that up approximately a whole note, and then downstroke on the D 11th, pull off, and then start over from the D 11th. This time around, the third time, it's not that big of a bend on the 9th. And now, this is something haven't seen it on any covers or from Dime playing it like it's on the record, because the last time it's not going to the 9, but instead to the 10th. So it's and then down on the 11th, pull off, and this time around from the 9th we hammer on back to the 11th instead of picking it with a downstroke, and then we start this descending part of this lick with the downstroke on the 11th, and then upstroke, pull off to the 9th, and then downstroke on the A 11th, and then up on the D 9th, and then down, and slide down to the 7th, and you do the same with the downstroke on the A 9, and then back to the D 7th, upstroke, downstroke, and slide down to the 6th, and then down on the A 7, and end it on the 6th with an upstroke on the B string. It's one pick, but you bend it up twice. And the last note is the 7th. With a slight pinched harmonic. In all honesty, though, I have to admit that to me, this part has always been very controversial, and up to this day, I'm not so sure if it's a tapping thing. Because if you take a listen to the isolated guitar tracks, it's very hard to tell whether those are picked notes or tapping notes. And if they are picked notes, this is the solution which I just very recently came up with. And that would be to play this part starting on the 17th position, 19th fret of the B string, bend up around the half a note, and then a whole note, vibrated it, and then you start the repetitive part of it. So it's now the 19th and the 17th on the B string, and then you bend up the 19th on the E string. And before you would release that, you flip over with the ring finger, or whichever finger you use. I would suggest you to use the ring finger, and then pick the 19th on the B string, which is now bent up, and release that. So the repetitive part will look like this. Not an easy one. The other reason why I also think that it might be here is because you don't hear that slide up part, and it's, to me, it seems more logical, more Dimebag-ish in many senses. Playing this one with the tapping is so much easier, and if you take a listen to both sides, they sound like they were made in the heat of the moment in a way. So there's some imperfections which made them sound awesome to my ears. Anyways, this might be an alternative solution, and maybe even the ultimate solution, I don't know. What do you think? We're on the 12th position on the E string. So you bend that up approximately half a note first, and then release it, and then pull off to the 12th, and then bend up a whole note. And then we start it over by bending up again approximately half a note, release and pull off, and then tap on the 19th on the A string, but it's already bent up a little bit, almost a whole note. And then you flick the tapping finger, and by doing that you pick that 14th that it's bent up, and then you release that and pull off back, and that's what's being repeated. Also, I can hear hitting this one first with the hammer on, but only the first step. And then you repeat 3 times. On the demonstration video, I actually bend up the last note with the tapping, and I'm almost certain that on the record he picked the last note, but then you have to fill that space up with some ghost notes. It's a very quick movement, but it's doable. And then we bend up the 21st fret a whole note, but we also add the B string like this. Pick the 22nd fret with the pinky, but everything is still bent up, and then pick the 21st and just keep doing the same thing, and it's all upstrokes from there. So up, up, up. And the last one is also a multi-bending. It's before you pick that, you kind of release the bending and bend it up. Like that. This last part actually starts in the previous bar with a slide up to the B16th downstroke, and then you slowly bend that up a half a note, E17th with an upstroke, and then you pick the 16th with a downstroke, and it's always a bending 4 times. And after the 4th time, you bend up with the downstroke the 16th, release it, and then pull off to the 14th, and then 16th on the G with the downstroke, and then 16th on the B string, upstroke, and then go back to the 16th on the G string. And now there's an upstroke on the 14th of the B string, but you bend that up, and I usually bend it downwards instead of upwards, so it's upwards first, and then downwards, and then go back to the 16th on the G string, and then 14th on the B again with an upstroke, and then downstroke on the 16th G string, and then pull off to the 14th on the G string, so it's no picking there. And at the end of that note, you want to bend that up with the Texan bending. And I usually bend that downwards as well. And then the last part, it's in a sense the most simple one, but technically it's a bit challenging. So you slide up to the 19th with the ring finger and also bend that up a whole and a half note. And then you start the lick down on the 17th, upstroke on the 18th, and downstroke on the 19th of the E string. And then you start over with an upstroke on the B19th. And then all together, 1, 2, 3, and the 4th time, after the 17th, you go straight to the 19th, and I switch fingers here, middle finger, because after the 19th, we go back to the 20th on the B string, and bend that up, and also pick the on the E string. And that's the first note of the next bar. Keep ringing, and then go half a note higher, same stuff, and then another half a note higher. But already there's tons of guitar layers there with dime squeeze and all that, but I can also hear this one there. You just go mental with that one. So together, this part slowly. Thank you very much for watching it. I hope that you enjoyed the lesson and hopefully even learned something from it. If you have any questions or suggestions, just feel free to share them in the comments section. And if you like what you hear and see, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because there's tons of content that I'm publishing every week. And I'll see you next time. Take care and have a lovely day. Ciao. Huh? Oh, okay. I fucked it up.